Good. Okay. So time will start when I click start game. So I'll count down. Three, two, one, go. All right. Did I put fastest speed on? Yes. Okay. All right. So yeah, this is Crash Bandicoot, 100%. It's the first Crash Bandicoot game.
Yeah.
And we are running the 100% speedrun category. So basically all that really counts is beating every level and breaking every box and getting every gem. That's straightforward. There's nothing really else you need to do in Hundo in this game. There is in Crash too, so we'll get to that when we get to that. So first thing you'll notice is that I'm jumping a lot, and I'm also spasming in the air. That is zigzag. It's the fastest movement.
Yeah, because for some reason, Crash moves faster on diagonals because of the way the engine works. But as it turns out, it's actually faster to spam as many diagonals as you can, thus zigzagging. And the only other thing that you do besides collect gems in this category is there's two keys in 2 levels, but they're just like an extra collectible to go. Unlock 2 extra levels that have gems in them. So.
Yeah, so if you've played NST, the Insane Trilogy, the remaster of the original Crash games, you'll remember that you need to do the bonuses to get all the boxes in that game. You don't actually need to do that in the original. They don't count as level boxes. This is not looking good, but salvaged it. Alright, so that is the first like major skip of the run. It is Jungle Rollers revisit skip. Basically, you can abuse the scenery and stuff and third mask form to break the 3 boxes up there early. Normally you would need a colored gem to access like a platform, but because of just that sort of skip, you can just avoid doing that altogether.
Yeah, so the major time saves in this category involve skipping as many revisits as possible. So you'll see in the next level, hopefully, as long as it doesn't go wrong, which it shouldn't, because. But
I like the faith.
Yeah, it's okay. Don't have to do the old version,
no.
unless you lose your mask. Yeah, there's revisits are there, like 6, 7, I don't even remember, but you can skip like 4 of them.
Yeah, so yeah, this level has one too. Missing that mask back there, that's just very weird. That never happens. Classic marathon mistakes. So I'm gonna grab this one here, which is something you should probably never do. It's very awkward to grab that one, unlike the first one.
Mm-hmm. And the reason is because of the way the cycles work in this level and in these games in general. So a lot of these games, how fast you can go are tied to cycles. So you want to go as fast as you possibly can to catch the best possible cycle, which in this instance would be the spiky pillars here. So that's yellow gem skip. And you can't jump around the pillars, so you have to go fast enough to get under them before they come down or go up.
So yeah, the yellow gem skip there is as easy as it looks, I suppose. You just jump on the turtle, then damage abuse off the spike to get on the back wall, and then just walk across.
And the old version of that relied on getting a super precise jump off of the exit vortex, because there is actually a tiny sliver on both sides of it where you can stand without getting warped away. So it's faster, but also significantly harder and not really worth going for when you're trying to get to upstream, which is the 5th level. 2 levels away, which also has a color gem skip, and it is significantly harder than anything before it.
I have gotten upstream skip once in a marathon, apparently. Say apparently because
Maybe.
I don't even remember getting it, but yeah, so it's either 1 or 0, so that just shows how hard it is, I suppose. I've done like, I don't know, 8, 9 marathon runs of this game. So yeah, this is a good level to showcase like how fast zigzagging is, because the boulder doesn't have any rubber banding. But even when you're just normal walking through this level, the boulder is like right behind you. You can see with zigzag it just ends up being way behind. So yeah, I've got a mask here, that's good. That's needed for upstream skip.
In case if you were wondering if you've seen like Crash 2 or Crash 3, in this game's boulder levels, it doesn't break the crates on the way, so you have to go out of your way to break them yourself. So here's a version difference. The first one really worth noting. They made all of the scenery and platforms in this level and the other creek level bigger on Japanese for some reason. It actually makes it easier, but
Yeah, a lot of it.
running and to play, but I'm not really sure why they thought it was necessary. It's not that difficult normally.
Yeah, a lot of the changes from the like Western to Japanese version are like making the game easier on the Japanese version for some reason. It's very strange. Okay, so let's go quickly try this. Alright, so we'll count that as my second time ever getting that in the marathon.
Nice.
So, good job me.
So basically what happened there is he went at a very precise angle, and if you're at that angle when you hit that wall, you can just sort of jump up it. Weird. There's some very strange collision in this game and other Crash games.
Yeah, there's a similar skip much later in the game for Cortex Power. It's the same sort of concept, but it's a lot easier to set up, and you can really see what's going on in that one.
I mean, I guess something that I didn't point out, you might have noticed he did some weird like spin off of the ramp like halfway through the level when he had invincibility. That was a sub jump, which is like, what is it? If you jump like 10 frames after
10.
a spin.
10 frames
Yeah,
after the spin, you can jump out of anything, even if you're not on the ground.
Yeah.
It's
So
very
that can
useful.
clear a lot of space.
So yeah, this is the first level where we don't get the gem on first visit. It's the first level that we actually need to revisit, and we can't skip it.
You can get very close, but
yeah,
thus far, nobody's figured it out.
I've been able to break like the boxes in the other area with third mask form, but like it kills you when you do it. As far as I know, I don't know if there's a way to do it without killing yourself. There's actually some weird collisions down in the pit that you can like stand on and stuff. You can actually walk on top of the like the secret area, but you die whenever you jump off it, so you can't get out or anything.
Yeah. Also, yeah, someone pointed out, on J, Papu has 2 extra hits, because who knows why.
Yeah, I don't know.
Made everything easier.
Except
Like, pretty much every other change makes the game easier on J. But then they were like, no, Papu, he's too easy. You need to add some extra hits.
So there's some small amounts of RNG in this game actually on the box screens. Like sometimes Crash can just look to the side extra times for no reason. This is like a second each time. It's really weird. I think that's one of the reasons why J ended up being slower than you.
Yeah,
for any percent.
I mean, because, so on the NTSC U and PAL versions, you can death abuse after a checkpoint, and you'll go straight back to the map when you beat the level. You won't get the box screen, but on J you always get the box screen. Now on J you only ever get one box falling on your head, but that's still slower than death abusing. And death abusing allows you to manipulate cycles and stuff, so it's not that bad to do a bunch of very small deaths.
So yeah, this is a Hogwarts. It's the first like animal level in the Crash series. Be followed up by the polar bear levels in Crash 2, and the tiger levels in Crash 3. The Hog's probably the easiest out of them. It's very straightforward. You just go left and right, break boxes.
Yeah, it's no real tech. I mean, you can zigzag, and the Hog makes a ton of noises, but
It's just, you know, sort of swag strats rather than actually doing anything in the Hog levels. It's just funny. This is probably the hardest early game level. A lot of cycles going on. A lot of stuff you have to like either wait for or narrowly make.
yeah. Native Fortress is a pretty big run killer. It's just a very tough level.
My apologies if you can hear the vacuum in the background, despite me warning my family to not use the vacuum past 10 AM.
Oh man, if I get friggin' vacuuming going on, then it's gonna be one hell of a commentary gig.
I had one request and it was just, yeah, don't use the vacuum. It's never enough. You have the donation page up, by the way, Reb?
Oh god, no. Oh, where is it? Hold on.
So yeah, that death, not a huge deal. So I got a bit distracted, that's why I died there, but it's fine. That was very risky. It's fine though. Yeah, so if I died like that in a different level that I needed the box gem in, that would be a huge death. That would be in like 2 minutes, because something very bad about the original Crash Bandicoot game is that if you die past the checkpoint, all the boxes behind you will respawn, and you won't be able to get the gem anymore. So you need to basically redo... Jesus Christ. I might mute for a second, I'll be right back.
I'll
Oops.
cover.
I keep muting the wrong game feed, it's my bad.
Oops. Yeah, pretty much if you die in this game after a checkpoint, you can't get the gem. Even if you go back and break all the boxes, you won't get the gem. It's like death just prohibits you from getting gems, so this game, in that respect, is extremely punishing, because there are several levels where there are some very, very difficult tricks that are very easy to die to.
I am back.
Welcome back.
You say that level's very straightforward.
Yeah.
You'll find that
it's-
a lot of the levels are they're just slightly different versions of levels you've already seen. There's not really that much of a difference between
yeah,
them.
there's- sometimes you'll see like there'll be like a box formation that's slightly different, or like part of the level that's similar but harder in the later version. And there's Ripperoo, who is quite easy when you know what to do.
Yeah, just because the game gives you 2 masks on every boss fight, you can just blow up the TNTs early, so you don't really have to worry about like lining them up properly and everything. A lot of the bosses in this game are pushovers really, once you're aware of how to do them. Okay, appreciate the jump input there, very cool.
So that's another thing about Crash games. Sometimes they just don't care about your inputs. Usually when there's lag, it's pretty bad. In that instant, that wasn't really a dropped input. It was just didn't jump on time. And when you're moving, like when you're trying to zigzag on the floor, it like really doesn't like you jumping. So it's a bit of a problem. Like if you even slightly miss time and start zigzagging before you jump, then you usually fall off a platform.
So I slowed down there to grab that mask that's like hidden up there. I missed the mask and then failed the cycle afterwards, so let's just call that marathon strats. Just going
It's
slow.
okay, you got upstream, so it's okay.
Yeah. Free pass for any mistakes from now on because of upstream. So yeah, this level is... Oh yeah, this level is the level they swapped the gem placement with Slippery.
Yeah.
So
Originally this has the green gem, and Hogwild has a normal gem. But in this version of the game, they put the green gem in Hogwild and the red gem in this level. So what that does is it actually saves a decent chunk of time in Japanese, because they didn't like change where the gem platforms are in other levels. So basically you get the red gem before you need to use the red gem in Road to Nowhere. So it saves a revisit. And that's one that you can't skip. So yeah, it's pretty nice in the Japanese version.
I really need to do a better strat on that last exclamation mark box. It scares me every time, but I just refuse to change how I do it.
It's okay, it worked. It's all Gucci.
What's better, Sunset Vista or Windows Vista? They're both terrible, aren't they?
I mean, I never had that many problems with Vista, but...
So that's fine. No damage abuse there to make that cycle. Probably not the most needed thing. I might need to slow down a bit here, so I can't damage abuse on the flame. It's not a big deal though. But yeah, speaking of Sunset Vista, that is the most cursed level in Crash 100. Like, nothing compares. A death at the end of Sunset Vista is like 3+ minutes. Even if it's just something really small, like accidentally falling from a platform.
Yeah, there's 2 very long levels in this game, Sunset Vista and Slippery Climbs.
Oh yeah, that's another version difference with Jay. So they thought Slippery Sunset Vista was too hard for Island 2, so they moved it into Island 3. Which level did they replace it with? Slippery Climb, so...
Yeah, which is like the other really hard level. What's the point?
Yeah. They even like had High Road in Island 3, where they like shortened they shortened High Road on J. So it would have made sense if they shortened that, made it a bit easier, and then put that into Island 2, but no, they put Slippery Climb, like possibly the hardest level. So you'll be seeing that shortly, actually.
They didn't put Stormy Ascent into this game. Stormy Ascent is another level like Slippery Climb, because they thought it was too hard. So they just trashed it.
I really went all out with this game's difficulty, honestly.
Oh, and something we didn't mention, because it's not really relevant to speedrun, but adding to the difficulty is the very, very bad saving system in this game. I have no clue what they were trying to accomplish with it, but they didn't accomplish anything valuable. It's got like passwords and you can save, but like it's really stupid. Like, so you get a prompt to save the game after you get a gem, but all that does is save your gem data, but it doesn't save your level progression. So you can like get every gem, or you can get like all 20. You can get 25 out of 26 gems, and then like stop playing the game, come back the next day, and you will load your file with 25 gems back at the very first level. It's so stupid, I have no idea. So if you want to save like everything, your progression and your percentage, you have to save using the Torna bonuses. Did the Brio and Cortex bonuses work that way?
No, they're just for lives. They're just extra challenge, they're just pointless. I think the Cortex ones count because of the key, but Brio is just nothing.
It's very dumb.
Oh yeah, it's from the save system. You'll be seeing that at the very end of the game. After I do Boulder Dash Revisit, you'll see the percentage counter spike from 35% to 100%. Because once you get every gem, it automatically thinks you've done all the bonuses and everything, or it just knows you've done every level. So then it spikes all the way up after that.
Yeah, you go from like 32% to 100%.
So yeah, this is Boulder Dash. Another level we can't get the gem first, like, visit. It's actually the last level we do on the revisits. So pretty straightforward. It's just another boulder level. There's a cool...
another dimension to it in the revisit, because you can skip having to wait for the boulder to go away when you go on the platform if you're fast enough.
Yeah, it's not a very hard like cycle sort of thing to make, but yeah, if you slip up a few times you won't make it, and if you gamble on if you made it or not when you're not confident and you die to it, then yeah, it's a couple minutes lost right at the end of the game. So you don't really want that. So yeah, you can see how far away I am from the boulder here. Like, the gem appears there and it brings you back into the pit. So I probably would have made it if I did that that attempt. So hopefully I can go that fast when it actually matters. So yeah, here's Slippery Climb. We are currently climbing Cortex's castle, despite being a whole island away.
The Japanese did not care about story progression or anything.
Ruins
they were
the
prophetic
lore.
because they got rid of the map layout for the rest of the series. So yeah, pay attention to how many checkpoints are in this level and where they are. And you'll understand why replacing Sunset Vista with this is utterly pointless.
What have I got?
That first checkpoint is a J thing, isn't it?
Yeah, that's J only. There's only one checkpoint in this level in the other releases, I believe. It's this one up here.
Yep. So they pretty much just added a checkpoint there for no reason. Because, I mean, I guess this section's kind of tough, but...
So yeah, this level is yeah, it's a level. It's quite difficult, but once you understand it, it kind of makes sense. Except this cycle here, I don't like it. Okay, thank God. Those stairs, scariest thing in the game. They are like,
yeah, it's
so
kind of hard to
deceiving.
keep track of where they will be.
So yeah, you can see the power of zigzag and stuff in levels like this. It just becomes a bit, oh my lord. Okay, that's a big death, but that's fine because it's the first one of the game, and I'd rather it slippery climb than anywhere else.
At least it was a hard law. Yeah, so like you saw there, he literally just like went the wrong way for like a split second and lost like 2.5 minutes or something. It's just... this category is not forgiving at all. Especially when you consider... because you zigzag on the D-pad, you can't even use the analog stick on this game. When you think about a D-pad, like, and the fact that you're going all these diagonals all the time, just think about how easy it is to veer slightly off the path, and think about how you have to do that for over an hour without accidentally dying.
So yeah, I'll take this a bit slower now. So if you want like an idea of just how bad I expect this to go, so my estimate is 120, my PB is a 105. So like I expected a lot of this stuff to happen this run, and it doesn't even really like matter. You can become more consistent and stuff, but like every runner, even like the world record holder, gets a 116 or something every so often. Because the game just, all it takes is a few deaths that are a bit too long, and then you're, 10 minutes above PB.
Yeah.
Cool. Fun fact, those scientists can actually hurt you. Despite popular belief. This section is not liking me today. Nearly died there again. Missed the jump. Birds. Okay. Alright, we are out.
We did it. Everybody watching contributed to this being done.
Everyone pat yourself on the back. This is a group effort. I would pat myself on the back, but I'm going to die in Koala Kong if I do that.
So here's probably the biggest example of RNG in the run.
Yeah.
Kong. He's silly.
My PB loses 6 seconds to my gold here. So basically he walks to the left. He can stop wherever on this like path of his. So you want him to always stop like at least in the middle. You don't want him to go like way to the left. So that's bad. That is terrible. Thank you, Kong. Very cool. So yeah, you can actually just sit here and spin these rocks, and it makes the fight a bit trivial. You'd think you need to like dodge them, but no, you can just sit there.
Yeah, I don't think we explained that before, but what he's doing with the TNTs is called a spin break. So the TNTs have an expanding hitbox, so as long as you jump fast enough after spinning on top of one, you can escape the hitbox without getting hit.
That was a pretty bad Kong. He went like all the way to the left on that last phase. But it doesn't really matter. As long as you don't die in the level, it's not really a huge amount of time loss. So yeah, here's heavy machinery. First machinery level. Here's a tiny skip. You just jump down here into the secret path. Instead of walking all the way to the right and entering from the intended location. This is a good level to showcase submarine jumps, sub jumps. If I survive. Because I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that with no masks. Yeah, not a great start. Also because you need to spin so many enemies. There's something in this game called a spin timer. Basically, you can only spin a certain amount of times in like a 5-second time frame or something.
Yeah. There's now outdated. It hasn't been beaten, but it's outdated because of a completely new technique called zigzagging that's Taz only. But there's an any percent Taz by Pirahiko of this game from a few years ago, which has on his own personal YouTube, he has an upload of it with sort of graphical display that shows like his angle and the spin timer visually. So if you want to sort of understand how that works, it's probably a good video to check out. And it's also good because it's a good Taz. It's just, you know, from years and years ago before a bunch of new things were found.
So here's a good example of submarine jumping up here, or spin off this, jump in midair, and cross this whole area without having to wait on those moving platforms. This shows the power that that technique can have. Also, I'm spinning the sides of these things because it counts Crash's hitboxes on top of them. Yes, I need that box too. Perfect. Alright. I got pretty bad on my timing on those trampolines. Can do that a lot faster. Oh, hey, it's Cortex Power. Okay.
Oh, here we go.
If there's any
Got
level,
upstreams,
if there's any level I expect to screw up in this run, it's this one. This is a hard level. It has a revisit skip, probably second hardest in the game behind upstream, but it's a lot more costly to mess up. And it's also like completely your fault, so it feels worse. You know? It's all about that confidence, and when you screw up something that's your fault, yeah. So first part of it's coming up shortly. Just gonna clear out all these other boxes first. A little bit of backtracking here on this section. Gonna go up here, spin away this enemy into that life box up there, and move back. That's the only box in that forward section, so I can just ignore the rest of it. So here we are, gonna diagonal into this wall, spam spin and jump, and hopefully, eventually I'll clip into the ceiling. It's a bit hard.
Yeah, it's a really finicky strat.
There it is, okay. So now we're in the gem path without having the blue gem. Which is neat. So we're not done yet though. There's another diagonal I need to do up here, and it's got a setup, which is quite hard, but should be able to get it. Oh, okay. I did everything right, but I accidentally went too far to the right there.
Oh.
Yeah, so I screwed up the submarine jump out of it. That's about 2.5 minutes. Classic Crash
That's a
1.
shame. And so there's something I don't think we mentioned yet, but you might have noticed that there's like a text box that shows up for a moment when you get masked. That's another Japanese thing. And it gives you like hints or something, I don't know. Just another way they decided that they needed to make the game easier.
For like the first half of the game, they're hints. For the second half of the game, it's just Aku Aku, like, just saying random stuff, basically. It's like, I know one of them in Generator Room, the hint there is like, oh, the Cortex's faces on these monitors is scary. And that's literally all he says. It's like, it's not, doesn't help you at all. Just like,
And Saku, very cool.
yeah. He's not wrong. It is a bit of nightmare fuel.
It's a bit spooky.
Well, that was fast. I need to take this a bit slow. So I'm not really having any masks here. I don't trust that. This is a tad difficult, but there we go. Better safe than sorry. It's kind of lenient. You don't really need to be in a very precise area there. So shout out to my cat who is at my door meowing right now.
As long as you don't get attacked by a colony of Christmas beetles again, you'll be fine.
I feel bad that I had to murder so many Christmas beetles. I don't know how they got inside. That was an interesting night. Oh, okay. Game giveth sometimes.
Okay. Yeah. The ledges in this game are sometimes not so great, but yeah, miracles happen.
So yeah, this is Generator Room. It's probably my favorite Crash 1 level. Very nice. It's just satisfying to play through fast. Pretty bad cycle there. It's probably because I was a bit slow because of the spaghetti at the start. So there's a bunch of moving platforms here. Like, no thanks game. I'm just gonna jump across. There's a interesting strat at the end of here too that I'm not going to do because it is the exact opposite of marathon safe. But this last moving platform here, this one that goes forwards, you can actually skip this entirely by doing some really precise jumps. Yeah, nah.
It's just ridiculous.
The risk reward of that strat is way too bad to justify it. I don't even know if World Record does it. I don't think so.
Probably not.
You gotta like put in the context of Generator Room as like a whole. That's the last section. And you know, you're risking it all. You either save like 6 seconds or you lose 2 minutes. So it's a good start to Toxic Waste. This level might look really straightforward. It is not. It is terrifying. Because
Yeah, I think it's like one of the few levels where like the reason that it's hard casually is the reason why it's pretty difficult in the speedrun as well. It's just so cramped, and the pathway is so small that when you're trying to zigzag, it's really easy to just like accidentally go off the side. Also, in the run, you need to be wary of the last Torna check token, because otherwise you might go into the bonus if you don't spin it away properly. And there was a different type of TNT spin break, so you can also time a spin so that you're far away enough that you can escape the hitbox as well.
this last section with the bouncy things is a bit weird, but it's the same every time.
Yeah.
There's a gem that gives you 20 lives for free. What the? Not in this version. Is that a thing? Oh, right. Yeah, custom machinery. That's right. Yeah. I understand. I keep forgetting that section exists, because you can't use it in Hundo.
Yeah.
Now, boxes,
No,
bonuses don't count, no. We only
They
need
do
to,
in NST.
we only need to do the Cortex bonuses in this run. Oh yeah, here's a great strat for Pinstripe. I don't know how they didn't think of this, but you just sit there and spin him 3 times and it takes away free health, like, instantly.
Yeah. He's also, did you already do it or not? I can't remember, but like, on one of the phases, you, intentionally wait, even though you could hit him, because it makes it slightly faster. It puts him in a better position for later in the fight.
So I have these things I do in every boss fight. It's just a huge habit. I just go into a random corner and start spamming spin. It's very fun. I recommend trying it if you speedrun Crash at any point. Just find a corner you like the most and spam spin after every boss. So yeah, here's our high road. This level in NST is like the spawn of Satan.
Yeah.
But
we'll just avoid the disparaging remarks and just say they didn't really think the jumping and bouncing through on NST.
But as you can see, it's not a hard level in this game, especially on J, because they shortened it by like 30 seconds. So you might think we're like halfway through right now. We're actually like 90% of the way. Oh, actually we're 0, but we won't worry about that.
Oops.
Yeah, happens. What have I got? See, this is a level where it's like, oh yeah, I don't really mind a death here. It's only like a minute long. At least we have a lot of lives we can use later if we need them. I'm sure the marathon organizers would rather sleep though, so I won't be doing that. So I'm trying to time my spins on those like box crates so I can break them all in one spin. Because you don't really want to spin multiple times in quick succession. Because it just drains away your spin timer much faster. So yeah, here's the end of the level. Fun. Oh, not slippery climb. Wow.
Sunset Vista time.
Those levels are interchangeable in my mind, I just get them mixed up. I can envision them, but like, no. Okay, apparently we want to go backwards in the level, like, map there. Just for a quick second, just to make sure I got the gem in High Road or something. So yeah, a lot happened in the first 2 seconds of this level. I Death Abuse to set up cycles, since these are global cycles here. And then I went to the right before grabbing the box so I could activate the flame early, which would allow me to not have to wait for it after breaking the box. So I'm on the right circle here. I go really fast there. It's just what I've like got used to. I can probably get that same cycle without mask abusing there, which might save like a second later in the level, but yeah.
Whatever.
When you're talking about Sunset Vista, you know, you just want to be as comfortable as you can be with the cycles. So yeah, the first Cortex bonus is in this level, which is fun. There's some cool strats in those. hype you guys up about it for no real reason.
Also, there's something in the Japanese version here, so they did something to the coding, and sometimes the cycles here break, and it's like actually impossible to progress through, and you have to just wait until they realign. It's really weird.
It is, yeah, it's really bad. Like, I don't know what, I honestly don't get it. It just, like, the cycles just slow down immensely, and it's just horrible to try to get through those pushboard cycles.
Yeah. It's mainly on the one that's coming up with the floating platforms.
And get crushed by the metal box there. Okay, so
Oh yeah, that's a thing that can happen. If those metal crates land on top of your head, they kill you.
So here's the first Cortex bonus. Just gonna ignore these boxes, don't need them. Grab this key and then yeet myself off the edge, because you don't need to exit the bonus to grab the key. Saves a couple seconds. You just skip the like save screen.
Yeah, and there's actually a strat with that in, or well, in that bonus in any percent where you can intentionally game over and save a small amount of time.
I found that strat. I'm very happy it's used in any percent now.
Very proud of you.
Yeah. It's the only level where if you enter a bonus and then like game over, it will put you in the next level. No other level does that except separate sunset and stuff. Very, I don't get it, but yeah. Thank you, developers, for giving me a strat that I found that is actually useful for once. So this run's actually alright. I'm surprised. It's not great, but I'm surprised.
Let's chug it along. Got upstream.
Yeah. Second try Cortex power, that's fine.
I'm good.
So this level's...
So here's
yeah.
another level you can't skip a revisit, so just beat it any percent on the first run.
The biggest obstacle in this level is the mask hints. They are horrible. They are the
Yeah.
worst thing in this level. Because
They really put off your input timing. Yeah. It's just like easy to jump in a pit because of it.
They completely pause the game and you have to sort of assume how fast you were going before like the game paused and everything.
Yeah. You can skip them with circle or X, and you do the move that button does if you skip them, so it's very dumb.
Cool submarine jump there. Just dip down into the abyss. Make that cycle. Pretty straightforward level. Good RNG.
Did we mention about the spin invincibility frames?
Oh no, we didn't. Yeah, that's a big deal, actually. You can explain.
So when you spin, you get a few frames of invincibility. You can go through some obstacles and stuff. Not all obstacles, but there's a decent amount. So for instance, in this level, you can spin through the arrows that come out of the, or the spears, I guess, that come out of these pillars, as you saw right there. No, I think it's still a mystery what Aku actually says. I don't even know if it's like a original sound or if it's just something they got from a sound bank somewhere.
Truly life's greatest mystery.
It's like the I know the tribal chanting in the Great Gate song is a sample of something. Like it popped up in some random song I was listening to. I was like, what the hell? Really weird.
So here's the blue gem path. You can tell by the amount of blue gems on the ground here.
Oh, and the hints, yeah, we already said what he said in the hints. In the first half of the game, he just tells you what to do, and then in the second half, he just talks about nonsense. Makes nice observations about the world of Crash Bandicoot.
Alright, I don't remember what level it is, but one of them, he says like, if you really want, you can use the X or the circle button to skip what I'm saying. It's so lonely. So very lonely.
Poor Aku.
Yeah. Poor lad just wants to be heard for once. So yeah, you need to spin this enemy or jump on it so it doesn't go forwards and blow up the TNT there. Because otherwise you won't get the Cortex bonus token. Oh wow. That was not close at all, don't worry about it. Come on Crash, down you go. Don't accidentally grab that token, that would be bad.
Yeah.
Cool, jewel's done.
Now time for another pretty long level. Castle Machinery.
Castle Machinery is on a spawn cycle or something. There's like these platforms right at the end, which if you miss the cycle for, you lose like 13 seconds. It is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's this just giant vertical ascent with 2 moving platforms.
So yeah. I'm pretty sure you can go fast enough to skip the cycle I normally do, but that's like really, really hard. So up we go. One mask in this level. We don't want third mask form or anything, but we want some masks just to skip certain things to make sure we get to the end on time. So this is the second last main level before I'm gonna get third mask from here. Okay, well, enjoy the bongos while they last. So you can see that Crash's walking movement is a lot faster on with third mask form, but his like air movement is like slower or something.
Yeah, so overall you want to avoid invincibilities because zigzagging is faster.
There's a pretty tricky box bridge up here. Very fun. Another thing like right at the end of like a 2-minute long level. So hopefully I made this cycle. Yes. Yeah. Had plenty of time actually. That's good.
Yeah, and unlike other levels in this game, you can actually jump around in 3D in this, so you can jump around some obstacles if they're in your way. Which you would have also seen in Heavy Machinery near the start. Okay, you didn't have the Crash Marathon deaths. We're looking up. It's all roses.
Yeah, shoutouts to that run. It was actually really good until that one death, and then it just went so downhill I couldn't believe it. Basically, on that last platform, I got a bit too overzealous and tried to jump too early and just fell down. Like, right at the very end, just before the portal. So I had to redo the whole of Cars and Machinery. It was like 3 minutes. So yeah, the game wants you to bounce on top of these enemies, but if you jump and spin, it counts as bouncing on top of them for some reason. So it just becomes much easier. If you try to spin those enemies on the ground, you'll just push them away instead of actually doing something. So yeah, this boss fight, very predictable, straightforward, over in 10 seconds. That's the sign of a crash boss fight right there. It's either an auto-scroller or it takes like 3 seconds to do.
Truly high points of these games.
Here's that, if you remember, before I started this run, I was practicing this level. So naturally I'm going to mess it up immediately.
No, it's going to be the best level of the run so far.
Okay, good spin timer there. This is going interesting. I'm not going to know my cycles here at all. Just adding a little bit of excitement to the end of the run. You guys need it. So I spin this scientist forward because it blows up the TNTs around one of those activation boxes. And also the life box behind it. It's very cool.
Yeah, and those are called snipes, and you might see some in Crash 2. They're harder to do in Crash 2.
Yeah, the relic, and yeah. You can't skip through the things with spinning, like the electricity or anything in the remake, so it's just like a cycle hell, basically. So
and in case you were wondering, if you bounce off those TNTs and go straight to the portal, you will not get the gem, they will not blow up in time. And the game does not make them immediately blow up, like later games do.
So here's the first secret level, Fumbling in the Dark. Terrible
Very
level,
infamous
I hate
level.
it. Oh, yeah, okay. So that's why I hate this level. The scenery and stuff, the little arches that you go through, if you bonk on them, you just lose all of your momentum and you don't get enough height, so you just die. It's very fun. So I need to time my jumps here and not be bad at zigzag, so I can actually make sure I get through them.
Yeah.
If there's anything I like about this level, it's the fact there's no hints. Because this level with hints would be so horrendous.
I know, it's just... oh my god. Imagine, yeah, the opening with like all of those mask boxes.
Yeah.
Imagine if all of them had a hint, that'd be great. Is it this level of Lights Out where you can get the wrong axis axe?
Oh, that's Lights Out.
Yeah, okay. So I didn't mention it, but in Lights Out, on J, for some reason, you can get a specific axe that goes forwards and backwards instead of side to side. It's so strange. It just comes out of nowhere.
Very surreal experience when you get it. It's like, just, what do? You just sit there and look at it like, oh god, I'm gonna have to take damage here, regardless. Because it's just how it swings, you can't really spin through it consistently either.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's like the, oh, what was the thing? The cycles breaking in Sunset Vista. Like, it doesn't really make sense how these things got broken in the conversion. Because they didn't change anything about the frame rate or anything. Or the resolution. They're the same on J and US. And, like, it's not that it, like, goes backwards and forwards, but the axe itself is aligned properly. No, it swings sideways, but it's still like the flat face coming towards you. It's literally just going the wrong axis.
Crash games are a thing of beauty. They're just...
Yeah, they actually are like really impressively coded because you can Andy Gavin, a dangerous name to mention during a run. He has this blog where I think it might have gotten hacked, so you might get viruses if you go on it or something. I don't know, maybe that was fixed. But he has this blog where he details a lot of how the game was created, and like they really got a lot out of the PS1 with these games. Yeah, you couldn't see it, but when I mentioned his name, I made the sign of the cross. You know, you gotta. I'm not
Yep.
religious, but you gotta respect.
Andy Gavin is responsible for every single thing that goes wrong in a speedrun of this game. You just know he's watching you on PB pace, just like wondering when he's going to ruin you. So yeah, we're getting into the revisits now. So that was Lights Out. So basically you're just going to be seeing levels we've already done, but they've got a few little extra paths that are kind of cool looking. I like them. But yeah, they're not that special. Oh, here's the hardest jump in the game coming up. Whole hog.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you'll probably even be able to tell which jump it is if we don't tell you, like, it's very scuffed.
It's great that it's at the end of the run too. It's like always something in the back of your mind when you're speedrunning on PB pace or something. It's just like, oh god, what about the hog? There it is. The scariest jump in the game. Holy crap.
Yeah, like, look at that shit. That was insane. It's like the freaking hog's feet were touching the thing.
I don't actually know how precise it is. It might be like, I don't know, 10 frames maybe, I don't know. It's not that hard, it's just a really weird like angle that it comes at you from. So
Yeah, it's like anytime that you actually die to it, it's like a jolt, because you really just can't expect it, because it's so close. Yeah, up to 23 gems, so...
Ooh,
Wasn't there?
32%. Well, streamer, you've got 18 minutes left. Why are you only a third of the way through the game?
Well, you see, there's a secret fourth island.
That would be very interesting. Wish there was. With what, like 2 times the normal game's content?
Like, friggin' 10-minute long castle level.
Oh yeah, great. Half an hour long sunset, like remake. Spin jump there. Kind of scary because the game seems like it's going to just collapse when you do it.
Yeah, there's some pretty large lag spikes throughout these games.
So here, you don't need to ride down this blue gem, you can just stand on it. That would deload the floor, like the death barrier. So little time save. It's a Christian stream.
Now, Bum is taking this too far, I think.
Yeah, that's not allowed. The charity marathon, thank you very much. 2 levels left. 2 and a quarter. Let's just say that. You'll get what I mean when we get there.
Yeah, so Das pointed something out about how the camera is responsible for the death there. So the camera in this game is actually, well, in these games is actually kind of important because one of the ways that they optimize this to run as overall smoothly as it does is that pretty much the levels are loaded in chunks, and additionally, what isn't on screen isn't really there. So it's more relevant in Crash 2, where you'll see in 2 levels, Rex is actually going to specifically wait because there's nitros in a level with no detonator. Nitros are a new crate brought out in Crash 2, where you can't blow them up with anything except a detonator, or else you take damage. Um, but if he would go like just as fast as he could, then he wouldn't get them because they're not on screen anymore. And so there's sort of something like that in Crash 1, but it's not relevant, really.
If we're also really unlucky in Crash 2, there's a single bonus where boxes just don't even load in.
Oh yeah, because there's just so much Wampa loaded that the game starts having a moment.
This is a cool path, I like it a lot. The cloud section.
Yeah, it's a weird random
Very
area,
weird
but it's cool.
clouds.
Yeah, some of the extra areas in this are really cool, like this and the one you'll see in Boulder Dash next. And these are cool.
There we
There's
go.
some cool visual design in this game, I think.
So you can see the other 2 islands in the background. It's actually something you can, like, if you pay attention to the background, see, like, islands actually get closer the closer you get to them and stuff. It's cool.
Yeah.
Except in J, the sunset just
ruins it entirely. Like, what the hell?
Not gonna pull a Jack here. Shoutouts to Jack. That final life box. Jack, one of the other runners of Crash, he missed it with the spin and landed on the platform. And made the most ungodly noise I've ever heard.
There's been some great noises throughout the history of Crash speedrunning.
So yeah, last level Boulder Dash.
Oh yeah, the secret warp in Crash 2 was really cool, the way they designed that.
So yeah, this is the final like speed strat. Obviously, well, it's the final level, so of course it has the final speed strat, but the final notable one is the boulder skip at the end, which we talked about earlier, but for the people that weren't here, on the final boulder section of this level, I need to go fast enough so that I can ride the gem platform down before the boulder reaches me.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Softman's not lying. You could do a course on the history of Crash speedrunning. It would be an interesting course. Maybe that's the key to fame. I'll just start a speed lore on Crash Bandicoot speedrunning.
World record progression, Crash Bandicoot 2 100%.
Also, we lied about this game difficulty because, as you can see, Rex is on his last real level, and he has 91 lives, so if you ever game overed in this game, oh, you just suck, buddy. Sorry.
Yeah.
Just gotta tell you the facts. No
It's
beating
okay,
around
not
the bush.
everyone can be good at video games, so. This
That's
section's
what
super cool.
You gotta see easily cleared the boulder. Now, a problem with this section is that they don't deload the death plane, so you can jump up and hit it from below and die. It's very, very epic.
Just want to add on to the like suck if you game over. If you game over in TWOC, then I think you need a new hobby altogether. Honestly.
I think you leave like Arctic Antics with like 15 lives or something.
There's 100%. Woo! 35 to
Yay.
100 because game.
Yeah, so pretty much as I noted like way earlier, he hasn't been saving, so all the game keeps in memory is his gem progress.
Time.
So it hasn't really kept it in track where he is on the levels. But the game does know that if you get the 26th gem, then you've 100%ed the game, so it just goes, oh, well, 100%.
Time is coming up in a second, by the way. When Crash, like, jumps in the air right now,
Yeah.
I'll say time.
Yeah, there'll be a little freeze.
Time. There it is. Right. That was 1:10:19.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah, ish. 20, I guess. Yeah, I kind of blew out my estimate. That was a very good run. That, I got upstream. Yeah, cool.
I mean, there was, even with the, what was it, like, the Cortex Power and Slippery Climb deaths, those were like 4 minutes or something combined. That was actually a pretty good
and
run.
High
outside of
Road
those.
as well, yeah. Jeez.
Oh yeah, High Road.
Oh, wow.
Not bad.
I'm officially no longer washed up in Crash 100%. Thank you, ASM, for allowing me to return to form.
You love to see it. You love to see just the motivation to do proud by all the people affected by the bushfires with a hot Crash 1 speedrun. Kong skips leg day, by the way. It's very sad, but
25 minutes until Crash 2 is slated to start. Alright, so... sounds like a coffee break.
I mean, yeah.
I need to set up my other
Wake yourself up.
PlayStation. Nay, how do you want me to do this? I need to just set up my other PlayStation and stuff. The, like, ratio is gonna be slightly different too. I gotta let them credits roll. Sure. Alright, I'm gonna start boiling the kettle real quick. Rab, can you just, tell the great people about Crash speedrunning and how to get into it if anyone's interested?
Okay, yeah. So if you were interested by this run or our talks about the greatness of things that have happened in this community, then you can go to the speedrun.com page for this series, which is very aptly that. Very difficult URL to remember. And you'll see there, when you actually like click on a game, like so say you click on Crash 1. Actually, maybe not Crash 1, I don't know if that's got like the singular Discord, but there's a big Crash community Discord for speedrunning. And so that's linked on the individual games. It's not linked on the series page for some reason, I don't know why. And yeah, there's like 800 people in there, or 900 people. And we're usually pretty happy to answer questions about things. We've got runners for every game, we've got channels for every game. NST is not included there, they have their own Discord. It's linked in the main channel of the Big Crash Discord if you want to check that. Also, yeah, as Softman said, remember, donate to help all the people affected by the bushfires. Very sad stuff happening, but it's life when you live in a very dry and hot country. But we can try and give as much as we can to help them get through these times.
Alright, cool.
And really, if you're paying attention to this credit sequence here, I don't know how Crash 2 even happens, because, like, he's obviously not getting anywhere. He's just...
He doesn't even
It's not-
stop Cortex, he just gets his girl back and leaves. This is
yeah,
the true
so
ending.
in 100%, because you already get the 100 percentage before Cortex, and it's faster to beat Great Hall than it is to fight Cortex. You just never fight Cortex in 100%. Because you can get the 100% in. And in any percent, if there was a way to, in real time, do the skip to the end of Great Hall, then you would do that as well, so you wouldn't find him there either.
Okay, well, yeah, that was Crash 1. I'm gonna cut the stream real quick to set up Crash 2. So yeah. We'll be back shortly with the second game in the Crash series.
It'll look quite different.
Very different. Much faster too. You will love it. Trust me.